Greetings, my movie ghouls! Welcome back to our Halloween countdown. 31 films in 31 days. No. 31 days of horror.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you didn't want to do the intro.
I don't.
No.
You just keep doing the wrong thing.
I don't. I just... There we go. I'm going to keep this in. Tonight, we watched Paranormal Activity 2. And this one, again, it's a low-budget film. It's all... what's it called? Found footage film based on the security footage from inside the house. Now, if you've seen Paranormal Activity, the first one, it is linked completely, and it's, instead of being a follow-on from that, it is the sister of the woman from the first one. I can't remember names. But this film took what they did in that one, where it was just a house with two people in, a couple of people coming every so often, and this one is now a family who seem to be having this activity that is paranormal.
Could have called the film that.
Yeah, they could, couldn't they? It's a good idea, isn't it?
Paranormal.
The activity that's paranormal. Oh. And this one is different because it charts the birth of a little boy called Hunter as well, which plays into the film. Do you want to go into a little bit of detail?
Quick recap. So it is, like you've said, it's mum and dad, and they've got a teenage daughter and a young son. So it starts with the birth of the son. You see them bringing the child to the house. They have a housekeeper who is like Hispanic housekeeper. Yeah. You very quickly, you don't see much. It's just little passes, little stages, and then it cuts to the child being about, I would say, a year, 18 months.
Yeah, he's walking.
Yeah, and then so it kind of is at that point. The housekeeper is very superstition, already says, with there's good spirits, but we want to keep them.
Get rid of the bad spirits. Bring in the good spirits.
And it starts saying like night 1 and night 2, but there's nothing.
There's very little that
happens.
There's
nothing. So you think, well, what's happened? And then it obviously starts increasing.
But that's what's good about it, because something does happen on each night. And they do a lot of establishing shots, so there's a camera looking out to the front door and then into the pool. So you always get day 1, day 2, and it's front door, swimming pool, and something does always happen.
But it's like the lights to the pool go out, and like they notice that they've got like a little pool cleaner, and that's always on the side as if somebody's
it's always putting it in every day.
And anyway, these few little things happen. The man, which is very stereotypical film, the man dismisses anything that's supernatural or ghostly.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, and he they record it, and they look back at they only get the securities put in because somebody burgles them, so that's why it's there.
Did they burgle?
Well, yeah.
Well, that's it.
No, they don't take anything, but the house is ransacked.
Yes.
And then it increases, doesn't it? So there's like little things, little subtle things, and then it becomes more and more like noises or bangs and
footsteps going up the stairs.
Yeah. And the mum and dad go out a couple of times. The lass is left alone. That's when
young baby. That's the most unrealistic thing about the film.
Yeah.
When do you get time to go out?
We go out quite a lot. I mean, we went last. Well, I can't remember.
Bingo. 2 weeks ago.
Bingo. Makes us sound rock and roll. That.
We are rock and roll. We won £25.
I won 30.
Oh, you won 30. What's?
But anyway.
What's yours is yours. What's mine is yours.
Yeah. So the housekeeper gets sacked because she goes round. She's babysitting one of these nights, and hears all this banging. So she gets this. She's burning sage and all that. The guy comes back. He's not very happy. The next day, you see him leaving with her bags. It then escalates very quickly. So you think, actually, was she keeping something at bay? You just don't know. Even the mum is convinced,
And the
daughter starts doing lots of research. She does a seance with a boyfriend.
Idiots!
I know, but that night is the night when she's then on her own. She gets locked out of the house. She goes out because somebody's banging on the door. She can't see anything.
She goes out and the door's left
door
open.
slams behind her. She can't get back in.
It's wind though.
And then about half an hour later, the mum and dad come back, but what they don't realise on the footage, you see the baby being lifted out of his cot. He's like being it's horrible. It's creepy.
Like dragged down, starts crying, then
and it's being like lifted.
round.
It's very good actually.
It is very, very clever. Yeah.
And then the mum starts, like, the next thing is the banging and that again, and then the pots falling down, like pans falling down, and then this one night the mum gets dragged down the stairs.
There's a dog that's constantly in the baby's room, almost protecting it, and the dog is. You can see it on camera but you can tell that it's like someone playing with a toy and then pulls it out.
And it gets pulled and that gets hurt. So the daughter and the dad rush off to the vets in the middle of the night, leaving the mum there. She's sat up waiting, and she goes back to go into the baby's room, and she gets literally, it's like straight out the first one, which gave me nightmares.
Nightmares.
Straight in on her legs, pulling her down. She manages to stop herself the first time, and she runs back up.
As soon as she gets to the baby's room,
gets back in, she's gone, and they drag her down to the cellar. And then everything's quiet. The door slams, and it ticks forward about an hour. And the baby, you could hear the baby crying. I was thinking, oh my god, who's looking after the baby? And then she comes back up, and she's totally different. The next day, I'm trying not to go into it too much, but the next day she's got this bite mark, and she's clearly possessed. And they watch the footage, and she shows the dad, and that's when the dad realises it's true.
They call back the housekeeper.
They call back the housekeeper. She says, do this, that, and the other. So they basically get her with a cross. It miraculously, she's fine.
What's interesting is they have a conversation and say that you can only banish it to another family member.
Another person.
So
and in and out of the film, his
sister
keeps and Micah from the first film has been in and out. And the husband does it, and he burns a picture of the sister. And everything the next day is back to normal, isn't it? And then the few days, everything they're talking about it, saying, oh, everything's fine now, and she doesn't really seem to remember much. And then it cuts to a few nights later, the dad sat on the settee a bit like this watching TV, and he hears someone, he looks behind, there's nothing there, but down that side
you can see
is the sister from the other house, because running alongside she was having issues as well, because you kind of get that from when they go. She asks her sister, how's things here? And she's like, oh, it's great now. We don't have anything. And she's like, oh, right, I think I'm going a bit crazy. Because obviously it's happening to her at the minute.
And it's clever because...
But she's stood isn't she, down the hall with, in the clothes she's in from the first one, with same blood on her. And she kind of walks up behind him all strange, though, she's dead heavy. Breaks his, really lifts him up, breaks his neck.
Very, very well done.
And goes in to the bedroom where the mother's work. She's sort of rocking the baby, throws the mother
with the baby
in her arms, and then picks the baby up and walks out. And then that's it, it's the end.
They've not been seen since. And I think, not talking too much about the future films after this, these two worked really well together. And the second one, this film was so clever in how they set it and where they placed it within the first film, because the first film was standout because it was so clever on what they did, found footage, and it's just one camera and all that sort of stuff. But this one, they were able to add more cameras dotted around the house.
And he had his own camera too.
And there's also
it's funny because Micah, the guy at the first one, goes, oh, I'm going to buy one. And then they put that in because obviously that's the camera.
That's when they got it,
So you do have handheld footage as well. But it basically says the eldest daughter had been away on a school trip, came back, found the bodies a few days later, and I can't remember, is it Bex or whatever, I can't remember what she's called. Her and Hunter have never been seen since.
But
the whole point of the story is they find out, the daughter finds out that there's never been a male. There's never been a male since the 1930s, and they think that one of the great-great-grandparents made a pact, and when she read up online that you can make a pact, but you have to sacrifice your firstborn son or the firstborn heir, and that was it. And it was really creepy because we've got sons, and you can't help, I think, even if you didn't have a son, you had a kid, seeing the kid being moved about and manipulated in his cot is just,
Yeah.
It made me feel a bit queasy.
And then also watching the kid run around the house as well, climbing up the stairs, and there's no one around. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, and like it lifted him out, and and I was just like, oh my god, it's your heart's in your mouth just for that, even though there's a demon and that there. Very clever little film.
Yeah, it is.
I agree. I enjoyed both of them. I think this is really, really good. There's bits of it that I think it adds to it, because you're not meant to have it action packed and something like this.
But it does. It's a nice little. It's almost like a prequel sequel with the first.
Sequel.
Well, it is, isn't it? Because it's set before the first film, and then it's also set after. So it just works so well.
Yeah.
But what would you give it from your pumpkin patch?
I feel like I keep going for 7. I don't know whether to give it an 8.
Well,
I'll give it an 8.
Just gonna give it an 8
because I've given quite a lot of 7s, and I actually had a nightmare last night after I watched this. So it obviously played on my mind. I woke up because in a dream I was being, I don't know if it was me, but one of us was being pulled along by an invisible, and I literally sat up in bed with a sweat on. So
it wasn't a dream.
It worked. Nothing. It didn't scare me when I watched it or anything, but obviously it went in there because.
But this is the first one is one of the films that gave me nightmares about lofts.
I have to say the first one deeply disturbing, because it's the first time I'd ever seen somebody being like
somebody dragged,
yeah, and convincingly dragged. So 8 for me. I feel I'm being a bit quite
positive.
Quite kind there, but I do like it, and I did enjoy it.
Well, if you enjoy it, you give it what it deserves.
Yeah, it's so good. It's
don't question it.
I'm not.
You can't take it back now, neither.
Go on. What do you give?
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Stop copying me.
Oh, I'll give it a 7.
Stop copying me.
I'll give it an 8. 8 pumpkins for my pumpkin patch. I did enjoy it, and I like the fact that these two films, you could probably stop the second one, watch the first one, and then finish the first one.
Yeah, it's
but
clever.
it is clever, and maybe we'll do the third one next year. We'll see. Thank you for watching. I'm the Ultimate Movie Geek. You can follow me on Twitter at @MovieUltimate, and please like, share, and subscribe to videos, because then it gets more views and we get more people, and then more people talk to us.
But more importantly, stay safe.
Oh, shut up. Right, it was a mistake yesterday. I didn't mean to say stay safe, but I'm going to live that down, aren't I?
No, stay safe. Come on.
Stay safe, everybody. Stay safe.